What is up, guys, and welcome to episode 19 of the Dad's Life podcast. I'm your host, Sean Flac 2.0, and in this episode, we're going to be talking about the wicked Wahine. That's basically what I call my wife. It is also, this is being recorded on the morning of Mother's Day. That would be May 12th, 2019. So, first of all, happy Mother's Day to everybody that is either listening later on today or in the future. Again, those moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Today's going to be a little bit of a different show. As I previously had talked about, who I am and where I'm from, I kind of wanted to talk about, my wife and, how we met and, bring a little bit of, our background and our marriage, to the listeners. Maybe some of you guys are interested. First and foremost, me and my wife, we've been together for, 8 years now. So we've been together for 8 years. We've been married for, 7. Yeah, 7, regular old dad life thing, what year anniversary is it? So our 7th year anniversary is coming up in July. And she always gets this wrong. I usually get it right. I believe it's July 14th. Anyway, so basically, just to kind of start off, I was a single dad, at the time. The boy, was 6. Yeah, he was 6 years old when me and the wife met. Now, here's a funny story about how we met. We actually met online. We actually used the dating service Match.com. And a little bit to what, how we met was, I think I was on eHarmony. And, I worked a lot. And so I didn't have a lot of time to go out and date and go to, the club or the bar or wherever you would go. I don't know where you youngsters would go nowadays. Again, this is a long time ago, I guess. But, so I didn't have a lot of time to date. So, I think I was on eHarmony and, it was pretty expensive at the time, I guess. And I think I signed up for a 3 months or whatever. And then that expired. And then Match.com. Now, I don't know if you guys, know anything, or, if you're, born in the 80s, whatever, 90s or whatever, you'll know around 99, 2000s, chat rooms, were the biggest thing. And the AOL chat rooms were the biggest thing. And, eventually it evolved and they had matchmaking chat rooms or whatever. And that's actually where Match.com came from, it actually came from AOL's chat rooms. And I think it was Match, and it wasn't Match.com its own thing, but it was Match, whatever it was for AOL, chat rooms or whatever, and you chat. And it was the old school party lines, if you guys are even that older or whatever, it's the old school telephone party lines. So anyway, we met, I got done with eHarmony's trial, I think it was a 3 month or whatever. And then I'll start, obviously how the internet knows what you're always doing. I, was getting Match.com trials, okay. And I think it was 3 months. It was 3 months for $30. So then it was $10 a month when it's normally $60 or something like that, $20 a month for 3 trials. So I was okay, $10 a month. I'll go ahead and sign up, take the little test. And they give you, if you're not familiar with online dating, using Match or eHarmony, is that they try to match you up or try to match you with people that you take an aptitude test or a test or whatever, and they kind of match you up with people with the same likes and stuff like that. Now eHarmony's was real crazy, and they're more of a faith-based, I don't know if you want to say organization. Well, yeah, it was faith-based, so they asked a lot of religious questions and stuff like that. And then Match, almost the same thing. They don't explicitly say that they're faith-based, but for sure they had some of the same questions on there. So you took this long questionnaire, and they kind of matched you with people in your area. And then, of course, you put criteria for okay, well, I don't want this, or I need this, or, no kids, doesn't smoke, or whatever the case was. So you take this long test, and then, you put out little pictures and stuff like that. And then, so yeah, and I want to say through eHarmony, I probably went on like 2 dates, and then through like Match, I probably went on like, throughout the 3 months, it was probably like 6 dates or something like that. So anyway, the 3 months come and gone, and then, just like trials, unless you cancel, it'll automatically renew. So I didn't cancel it. It automatically renewed itself. And I was like, oh, man. So I didn't want to renew it. So anyway, I put like a reminder, or I went on to the settings and said, okay, after this particular run is done, let's go ahead and cut it off. So there, since I renewed it for basically I was on it for a total of 6 months, I took it serious, or is that even a word? I mean, I put like better pictures, a little bit more in-depth descriptions, and that's basically one of those times where I figured out that it is very, very hard to talk about yourself. You're, sitting there trying to explain like, what are your activities and what do you like doing? And then you got to come to like realization that, I would love to go, to the parks and, and I like being outdoors and taking walks and all this stuff. And you got to ask yourself, how often do you really do that? Is that something you would enjoy doing on a date, or is that something you actually enjoy doing? And you really have to, really tweak some stuff to, if you're serious about it. And at the time, I was very serious about it. I wanted to, find somebody permanent. I didn't want to, be promiscuous with different people or whatever. I wanted to have a relationship. I was a dad. I wanted stability. I wanted somebody that was going to take care of me and my son, and, all those things. So anyway, 2 weeks before it cancels, and I want to say during the second half of the 6 months, I only had like 1 date, and it was just, and I thought she was really cool, and she lived in the same city I worked. So I'd either see her before work or after work. And I think we went on like 3 or 4 dates. And then it just kind of turned out that it wasn't going to work out. It was kind of awkward. Anyway. And then like some time had went by. And then like 2 weeks into my, 2 weeks before I was to cancel, or was supposed to be canceled or whatever, I get this wink. And, if you're not familiar with, like, winks or whatever, they're like pokes, like on Facebook, and where you, like, just, like, poke somebody, like, oh, hey, I'm here. And I think the poke thing's really weird, but, their version of it was like a wink, like they winked at you to kind of get your attention so you could go look at their profile or whatever. And then, so I think she, like, this is, this is my wife. So she winked at me. And so when I went to go look at her profile, and I think it was the very next day, I was typing a response. And I was at work, and I was on my break. And so I was typing up a response, hey, how you doing, blah, 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 saw your wink. And so in the middle of me, like, typing the response, I got another message. I got an actual message from her. Now, the Match.com, well, for safety and security or whatever, when you send a message through Match will send the message from your profile to their profile, and then email the person to let them know, hey, go check your profile. There's somebody sending you a message. And then I don't know at the time, or if you could do it now, like if you could actually do instant messaging now, but at the time, that's what it was. It was like, okay, I'm going to send you a message, and then unless you're online checking them, you're going to get an email saying that, oh, hey, check your messages. So it was kind of annoying. But we went back and forth with it. You want to say like 2 or 3 messages. Oh, hey, got your message, whatever, interested in, whatever the case is. And honestly, after like 2 messages, she was like, this is annoying. Here's my number, call me. And, I said, oh man, that's, kind of forward or whatever. And I want to say in between that, she had put, oh, well, if that's too uncomfortable or whatever, text me. And, so I was like, kind of gave her a little bit of a hard time. Oh, that's kind of forward of you, just giving your number out, just kind of. And so we texted. So I think I want to say I texted her, and she was in the middle of a meeting. And she was like, oh, I'm in a meeting, da da da. I was like, okay, talk to you later or whatever. Like, text me whenever you can. And so she's like texting me back and forth. And I'm like, well, aren't you in a meeting? Aren't you supposed to be paying attention? And she's like laughing or whatever. So at this point, we had never met. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to call you. So, our first initial phone call, we talked on the phone for like 2 hours, which you talked to her about it. She was like, that's totally unheard of because she doesn't talk on the phone. But we had a really, really good conversation over the phone, and we decided to, hey, let's go meet, obviously in a neutral area. So if you guys want, I would have to say, like, obviously we're married. So we had a successful, like, online interaction, I guess you want to call it. And that obviously was successful. We both kind of knew what we wanted. There are I'll leave a couple tips of, kind of like what I thought helped and what I thought was cool or whatever. So if you guys want some online dating tips that aren't like, oh, let me Tinder, swipe up, swipe down, but really some things to look for when you're like using stuff like Match, eHarmony, or whatever, Match websites or whatever. But one of the things I'm going to drop right here is one of the things I learned, obviously dating these times or whatever, is the best thing to do on your first meetup is to go to lunch. Go to lunch or meet for coffee. Obviously, if you go to lunch and it's like in the middle of your workday, you guys are meeting up for lunch, there's a set time limit for you guys to meet. Number one, lunch is generally less expensive than dinner because you also got to think about how much time and money are you going to invest into somebody or something that may not go beyond this first meeting. And then, of course, if it's evening time, meet for coffee. Like, meet for coffee, meet for tea. There's always something you could have. If you want to go to the Starbucks, the Pete's, what is that? What's some of the other ones? Any of your local coffee shop or anything like that. Mainly, like I said, you go to a coffee shop, you're there to talk, and that's the main thing. Obviously lunchtime, you're in the middle of your workday, possibly you guys meet up for lunch. It's daylight. So ain't no special lighting effects from the club or nothing like that or kicking off or whatever. So my best suggestion for anybody that's online dating, and the number one thing is when you are meeting with somebody, be mindful of the time and money you're going to be putting into them, especially if you got you're lining them up. Like, okay, I'm going to see this person, and this person. And again, my thing with being on online dating, I was serious about trying to find that one person. So anyway, this is obviously the last of the first dates that I've had. So we met for coffee, and it was in her hometown. So, I had to go over a hill or whatever. And it was like a 15-20 minute ride over a hill to get over there. We met up at the Starbucks. We, got a little place in the thing. So the cool thing, they got a little corner in the coffee shop, which was really nice. And it actually wasn't like a little corner. It was like the front. But anyway, it's like our corner is what I'll call it forever. And so the thing is about coffee, it's like, if you're serious about it or whatever, it's $5 and 20 minutes tops. If you're serious about it, obviously we had a long conversation on the phone already, so there were some things we already had talked about or whatever. But when you first meet up, the main thing you're going to be looking at is chemistry. Like, do you guys even get along or whatever the case is, like in person? Do your pictures match up with what they look like, what you look like in real life and all that stuff. So $5 and 20 minutes, so obviously, you pay whatever latte, we sat down. And then coffee turned into dinner. So we had talked so long that it was like, okay, I think we met up at 6 or something like that. Now, don't quote me on that. The wife would probably no, we met up at 8 or something. But we met up for coffee, and it was a really good conversation again. And I felt there was chemistry there or whatever. Then, I was like, oh, are you hungry? I'm kind of hungry. Do you got time for dinner or whatever? We could, just grab a spot. And the cool thing is, we met up at a place that has a movie theater, a bunch of restaurants. And so there's options there. Like, if you wanted to go beyond coffee, there's that option to do so. So another thing, little, online dating pro tip, again, if you're serious about this thing, is you do it you could schedule the coffee around maybe an hour before like dinner, or like I don't know how late you guys eat dinner or whatever, but like we at 6, it's like, oh man, I'm getting kind of hungry. You got time for dinner or whatever tonight, and we could continue talking or whatever. There are a bunch of great choices. But so it was like 6 to 7, and like 7 to 8, and then I had a babysitter. I had my son's grandfather on his mom's side watch him for me while I was on this date. So I had to leave, but like I said, we had coffee that turned into dinner, and then we kind of like after dinner we like sat in the parking lot and we were talking for a while there, and then I was like, oh, I gotta go. So I left, and as soon as I left, I like called her immediately, like, oh, hey, we want to continue our conversation while I'm on my way home. And so we're, just chopping it up, and, that's kind of like how our first, date went. And so, she's a beautiful woman. She's changed, like me and my son's life has changed dramatically for the better. I mean, we weren't worse off, before her, but obviously education through like, some of my health stuff and, health, fitness, obviously she had, she had some health stuff that she went through, where she was diabetic at one time, then she beat the diabetes. And then when I got diagnosed with being a diabetic, she helped me, keep it in control. She's continuing to do so. Like diet, exercise, just, sleep, video games, which unfortunately, like, I love video games and all that stuff, but they do take a lot of time away from, and then those, like, taken away from time to, like, go to the gym or take away whatever. So, helping me find that balance with the video game thing. And just really enriching our lives in ways that I never thought of, because I just never thought of. Like, you don't know what you don't know till you find somebody that could point it out and put you in a better direction. So, that's basically our first meetup. And, obviously, our marriage have had ups and downs. And, I mean, that's just, life and stuff like that. But yeah, I just wanted to take the time out today, it being Mother's Day, to, share, how me and my wife met. And obviously, she turned into the stepmom that I couldn't have asked for more out of her. And again, we've had a lot of ups and downs. It's not perfect. I mean, just, marriage, blended family, not perfect at all by far. But that doesn't mean I don't appreciate her every day for being, the mother figure that my son needed, and my oldest son needed. And then of course, with our 2 kids together, the mom that she wants to be to them, and just kind of also put the message out there that I love you, I appreciate you every day. Every day should be Mother's Day. And again, this is the Dad's Live podcast, so, big ups to the dads as well. Every day should be like Parents' Day. We do a lot for these kids. We sacrifice so much. They will never know they will never know. They'll never know how much you sacrifice them, even after they have their own children. Because the sacrifices you make today are going to be completely different than sacrifices they may make later on. And of course, depending on what we've done as parents, they might not have to sacrifice as much when they have their kids. So, obviously today's Mother's Day, so welcome. So, happy Mother's Day to all the wonderful moms out there. Again, this is your day, but in all honesty, those active moms, active dads as well, your Parents' Day. It's hard out here. And, my earlier episodes, I talked about how hard it was to have kids, and, we need to appreciate the parents that are putting in their work and taking care of the kids that they made the responsibility, or, they made the choice to have. And, again, I just can't emphasize, all those good parents out there that are handling their business. But today, moms, it's your day. Happy Mother's Day. Every day should be Mother's Day, especially, those days when you come home, the house is a mess. Or you're a stay-at-home mom and the kids are driving you crazy or whatever. You guys are the real MVP, holding it down at the house. holding it down, at the workplace and rearing the kids and, just out there handling your business. So if you have one of those active moms out there, happy Mother's Day. Hell, if you're the single dad and you dad and mom, happy Mother's Day to you too. Happy Parents Day. Again, I want to appreciate all of you guys out there. I want to appreciate all those parents, that sat here and take this time to listen to this episode. And of course, the way society is nowadays, unless, our kids have a better example than what's seen on the screen or what is put in front of them on the screen, there's no hope for our future if we don't do what we're supposed to do. So, don't get so caught up in the daily grind where you're not out there with the kids, seeing what they're into and whatever the case may be. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and close up this episode and say, thank you to all my listeners out there. Happy Mother's Day to all those moms out there. You guys got any questions, comments, or emotional outbursts, you can hit me up on Twitter at Sean Flac. Visit, this project. You could, so the Dad's Life Podcast is on like Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, or iTunes Podcasts, whatever it's called. We on Spotify, we on Overcast, we're on a lot of the major spots. Of course, you can also hit us up on Anchor if you want to listen directly from the app. The app will also allow you to send me a voice message if you'd like to send me a voice message through there. Let's see what else we got. We got the Facebook page, the Sean Flac 2.0 Facebook page. That's going to have everything from the Dad's Life Podcast posted there, along with some other stuff, things that, I like promoting, things, little memes and things like that if you're interested in that. And then, of course, if you're listening to this at work or anything like that, or, maybe you're in a spot where you don't have, access to Facebook or, whatever, you can also visit us at SeanFlac.com or visit me at SeanFlac.com for web access to this show and all the other projects. I do have a blog. That's the blog page. So SeanFlac.com is the blog page. You'll see the blog there. Some stuff for myself. I've been posting up stuff for the oldest. He's wrote a couple book reports about ADHD, and they seem real good on paper, but they're really hard to apply. So, go check those out. I just posted up a gallery of all the photos and, anything I talked about. If there's going to be a photo or something like that that's associated with it, you'll be able to go ahead and check out a photo there. Also, I do got the Practical Pivot YouTube page, which we've taken a little hiatus from, but we're going to be coming back strong, trying to figure out how we can do this on Anchor. But you can see the episodes we've done there. I think we have 16 episodes there, maybe less, maybe 13 or something. But check those out. That's a show with me and my boy Mike T, and we're just talking about just trying to be different, put ourselves in a different position by doing some small changes. And then, of course, access to this show, the Dad's Life Podcast, and there's also a link to the Sean Flac 2.0 YouTube page, which, with so many different venues of media, it's really hard to keep up with everything. But please go over to YouTube, subscribe. There's a bunch of different lasting impression videos there. Some of the earlier Dad's Life stuff on there. Go ahead and check it out. Leave a comment, subscribe, share. And that's basically all I got. Again, thank you for everybody, especially on Twitter. A lot of you guys have started following me on Twitter, and I appreciate all the love I've been getting on there. And, like I said, holla at me, I'll holla back. I'm here to interact with folks that are going to interact with me. I'm going to support folks that support me. So if you guys have a blog, a YouTube page, a podcast, definitely go ahead and hit me up. Send me a message. I'll go ahead and check it out. Also on the website, I'm having a recommendations page where, I'll put links to other people's stuff on there as well, just to kind of, again, support those who support you. So anyway, thanks again. This has been episode, 19 of the Dad's Life Podcast. Again, I'm your host, Sean Flac 2.0. And until the next recording, be good, and I'll holler at you later. Peace.